Believe it or not, you've been manipulated your whole entire life without even knowing. In this video, I'm going to show you the secret techniques that marketers and even the government use to be able to get you to buy into products and ideas. But before I do that, hit the subscribe button, like, comment, because it really does help. So tell a friend, and now let's get into the video.
Researchers are working on mind-reading marketing.
5 years ago, no one wanted to admit they were using neuromarketing, but now all of the big guys are involved. Google, McDonald's, Facebook, banks are using neuromarketing.
So the main technique used for this is called priming, and the way that it's done is with neuromarketing. So first, let's start with what priming means. Priming is the process of activating specific mental associations that influence our thoughts and behaviors. Now, neuromarketing uses a lot of techniques to be able to prime our brains, but the most common way of doing it is through visual cues. Have you ever noticed that certain brands tend to use specific colors, shapes, and even fonts for their logos? This is because they've taken extensive research on the best color, shape, and font combinations that give the best experience of emotion with that brand. And this visual cue is just used and formulated to be able to give the consumer a great experience when it comes to interacting with that brand. Studies have shown that the color red is associated with the emotions of excitement and passion. Hence why Coca-Cola and Red Bull use that color predominantly. Blue, on the other hand, is more associated with trust and reliability. Hence why IBM and Facebook use that in their logo. These associations are so strong that it affects our decision making. A study by the University of Rochester found that people are more likely to choose a product that is wrapped in or associated with the color that matches their mood. Another way that neuromarketing primes our brain is through language. Now, language is extremely powerful, and there's a whole nother video that I'm working on that dived completely deep into language alone and how it has its effects on our mind in the way that we choose products, but not only that, but in the way that we choose to believe people. But in this sense, I'm going to touch on it very briefly, and really just advertisers use specific language to gear towards certain decisions. And you may have seen this on billboard ads or even within certain clickbaity things on YouTube. Because what they're doing is they're using certain words to be able to trigger certain emotions or associations. For example, when you use the words like luxury or premium, associate a brand in the sense of it's being more of a higher caliber, more expensive, and more exclusive. But it's also not about just the words themselves. If you combine visual cues with language cues, it actually becomes about how these words are presented. For example, using bold or italicized text can make certain words stand out. And finally, neuromarketing uses social influence to be able to prime our brains. We're social creatures by nature, which is the reason why we tend to move towards the behaviors of others. And also why brands are partnering with a lot of influencers, because they have a higher status within social groups and are able to lead people into thought, which then lead people into decisions. Have you ever noticed how certain ads use phrases like best-selling or #1 movie in America, even though the last movie and the next movie that came after that is the #1 movie in America? It feels like every single movie is a #1 movie in America. And that is because they're using this idea of everybody's talking about it in order to get us to gravitate and feel like, oh, I don't want to miss out. I don't want to have that FOMO. Then I'm going to go watch that movie. I'm going to go buy that book because everybody's doing it. And we don't always necessarily make that decision consciously. A lot of times it happens subconsciously because we gravitate towards the crowd. So there you have it. This is the techniques that people, including the government, use to be able to help you choose and buy into certain products. It's more of a suggestion that they tend to say to be able to push you in these directions. But in reality, they're just manipulating our nature to be able to gear us into making these decisions or buying into these ideas or products. So with that being said, that it is crucially important that we are aware of this, and we are aware of these social cues, these verbal cues, these color cues, visual cues that are constantly being bombarded on our phones, our billboards, on the radio, on the media, to be able to get us to gear towards certain decisions and do certain things, right? So with that being said, we have to be aware of that. We have to be very conscious of that, so then we can understand, is this a decision that I'm making, or is this a decision that's being tampered within my neuropsychology, right? So next time when you're scrolling through social media, watching TV, driving down the road, seeing these ads, just be aware of these visual cues and see if you can catch on to them. Because the better you get at catching them, the better you start to become more self-aware and not allowing people to prime you as easily. So that is it for today's video. Like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, because it really does help, and I'll see you on the next one.